wasn't showing you on there, so I want to show you. That part because I had missed that by cutting and pasting. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my guest, Sunnie Paxson.
Hi.
Da, 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 da. Great to have you here.
Great to be with you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, great.
Yep, I can hear you and see you. I can see you. Don't do anything weird. Beth Marla says, yes, yay, Sunnie is great.
Oh, Beth, I love her.
Yeah, she's
Hi,
cool.
Beth. Hi.
And then we have Nora Paradiso saying hi and Taylor Hatch saying hi. So there'll be more people coming along. So, wow, well, it's been a while since Sunnie and I saw each other, but I think we met at Bar Fedora, right? When you played with did you play with
Ileana?
You did. You played with Ileana there. Okay.
Yes.
I was wondering if it was the Brazilian guy who had played with her, but it was you.
No,
maybe there were a few times that she played there.
Well, she played without me while I was still living in Florida for a few years. But this is with Freddie Ramos and Seku. It was, and we had a dancer.
Yeah.
Risa dances with me often, and Ron Wagner and Seku bunch on the bass. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that was a while ago.
Yeah. Yes. Like, I saw you at Phyllis's show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a nice show.
Yes. Phyllis Battle.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, let's see. How shall we begin? This woman has played piano for a long time in various styles of let's say it's kind of different genres, but kind of a mixed genres too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll definitely get into that, like how it happened that you got into playing so many different genres. Did you come up playing classical, or what did you, is that what
Cla-
happened?
Classical, yes.
Yeah. Where did you grow up?
Philadelphia.
Okay. So, and musical family or?
My grandfather was a violinist and played the piano, and he also was a jeweler. But that was his love. Music was his love. My mother was gifted a grand piano. And then when she got married, it came along, and I would play it. And she never forced me because it was something she really didn't love that much. She was an artist, my mother, and sweater designer. But when she saw that I liked it, my grandmother was really thrilled, and she said, "Okay, well, that's what you want to do. You want to go to summer camp?" I said, "No, I want to stay and play this piano." And so she said, "Well, then you have to have lessons." And that's how it began.
Thanks, Grandma.
And my bubby, she was great.
That's
Yeah.
really cool. So, were you were kind of in love with it right from the beginning?
Yeah. And, I studied classical music, and I always like to go off on tangents and improvise and make songs. And later on, when I went to high school, I auditioned for the jazz band and playing Flight of the Bumblebee. The teacher said, you have potential. And this other guy, Art Weinstein, he wrote arrangements, and he said, "Look, I tell you what, you go to this guy, and he's going to put you on the right path for your studying jazz." And I did, and I still continued to study with the classical teacher and the jazz teacher, and that's how it began.
So, what was that in high school?
Yeah, in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. What, and did you start gigging at that age too?
I would, well, yeah, maybe I did. Yeah, I would put my mother's dress on and lie about the age. It was all okay until somebody wanted to buy me a drink, and I got nervous. What do you do? And yeah.
Yeah. So then what happened? Did you go to college or did
Yeah,
you?
I went to school, and I went to 2 years to Berklee College of Music, and
Oh, really?
I went to Philadelphia College of Performing Arts, and then I started, whatever. I continued always studying
Oh,
composition. Yeah. And but I like to play. I knew I always liked to play jazz, and I still like to play classical. I still practice a little bit when I get time.
yeah, yeah.
Excerpts to keep yourself in shape. Yeah.
Well, also, I can imagine, like me, when we were at Berkeley college age around that time, I mean, the Motown thing was slamming and the Woodstock thing was that slamming. So you really couldn't, there was no escape from that. I mean, we loved it and if we were working, we were doing that music too, right?
Right. It all became infused,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, who are some of your favorites in kind of the R&B area at that time?
No, I like all I liked it all. I
Yeah.
like it all. I was always my favorite in life has always been Herbie Hancock and George Duke and Chick Corea and Ramsey Lewis. Yeah. So and they mix it up.
Yeah, definitely. And that at that time too, I mean, that was kind of not exactly the beginning of it, but it was kind of young at that age, right? I mean,
Well, Headhunters, all that kind of music
yeah,
was innovative.
yeah, yeah.
And Miles Davis, he was so innovative. Yeah, so I just never knew where to really draw the line. But when I write, I try to stay in the genre that I'm in.
Yeah.
That's yeah. I don't like to hear I don't like to infuse too many different things except flavors into a song,
Yeah.
the style. Yeah.
All right. Was that when you were in Boston at that time? Is that what I saw the name Ray Santisi in there? So obviously Ray Santisi was at Berkeley. Was that when you
Yeah, he
had
was my teacher, and we
who's
remained. He was my teacher, and Ray, and he remained my friend until he went to heaven.
yeah,
Great
yeah,
guy, so
yeah,
talented. Yeah.
yeah. He was such a huge part of the scene there.
Oh my goodness, he was amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
And in Philadelphia, I studied from Bernard Payfair, another giant, died too young, and a host of great classical teachers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy Amadei. Yeah.
Um, do you remember any epiphanies that you had from what they said to you or taught you? Just
Yeah. I
curious
mean,
because
I,
sometimes people do. It's like I remember when blah 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 said
you know
this
what,
and
you know, the thing that sticks with me so much is something from Jimmy Amadei. He always said, simplicity is the soul of beauty. And
hmm.
to this day, when I even get dressed, I'll start putting something on and I say, oh, no, that's not simple. That is ringing in my ears.
That's really nice, yeah. So it's cool because it's a musical lesson, but it also translates into life. I love stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, okay, so what let's see, what did you say? You went to New York, is that correct?
No,
After Boston?
no,
Philadelphia?
Philadelphia. And
Okay.
then I got married a musician. And so long story short, it became the era of casinos. They opened up in Atlantic City
Right.
with the trend to go there.
Yep.
There was so much work.
Yeah.
And I remained there till in the mid 80s when I moved to California
Oh,
because I had a great opportunity, and I knew it was great for my kids being musicians. I wanted to I wanted didn't want to go to New York. It was too hard a life, although I
yeah.
love New York.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Atlantic City was a great time, and I made a lot of money and made a lot of friends, but I knew it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I was asked to be the contractor at the Tropicana Casino,
Wow.
because I was in a show where I was musical director. It was a kind of a rather large show, and not that I loved the people I was surrounded with, the execs and all that, but they said, you would be great. We need a contractor for all the big acts, and everybody. And that's when Stanley Clarke asked me to join his band. And I, I'm
Oh shit, man.
I told a friend of mine, uh, here, I'm going to introduce you to somebody, and you're going to have a great job, and you're going to be able to raise your kids in style with this money. And I did. I got out.
Wow. That is such a universe lesson, isn't it? Oh my God. Here's two big choices. Which one are you going to take? Oh my God.
Yeah, and I was sitting on the beach with my really great friend Joan. She used to be the interior plant designer of the Playboy Casino where I worked, and that's how I met her. And she started to work for my manager. And long story short, we're sitting there. She goes, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. You got all of this. I had just recently divorced, and you have this and you have that." I said, "I'm so unhappy. This place. This is just a money pit.
Yeah.
It's not. It's if you want to, have a nice house beachside and you have an opportunity, but I'm really not that happy." She's, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I'd like to go to California." Well, that night the phone rang, and I got this call. I couldn't believe it, and I said, "Hey, Joan, what? You want to go?" I hear.
Wow. So, and how did Stanley Clarke know about you?
Well, we met through musical circles. So
Okay.
yeah. So we had, yeah, we got here and it was great. And did it well. I did a couple tours with him, and then I moved.
Okay.
And yeah, at that point, I moved here, and I said, "Oh my goodness, I have to work, but I don't know anybody like working musicians, only kind of famous people." And I found an agent, Lee Castle. Maybe you know her. Remember
Yeah.
her?
Oh my God. Yeah. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Well, I called the Century Plaza Hotel, and I said, "Who books this place?" Because I knew I wanted a good job, like I had in Atlantic City. And they said, uh, Lee Castle. I looked her up, and I went to see her, and I said, "Listen, this is not a joke, but I have to make money. I have two small kids, and da 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 da, and I'm single soul support." And basically, so she got me the job at the Century Plaza Hotel. Actually, I worked there like 5 and 6 days a week. I said, "Well, now I don't know musicians." And I did know I had some friends here in town that worked for Sergio Mendes and things. So they introduced me to, I'm sure you know, Alfred Rubalcaba.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to see Alfred, and I said, "Alfred, I need to meet musicians, people that need to work." And I thought I died and went to heaven. He sent me Octavio Bailly and Justo Amario. And we proceeded to work every cocktail hour at the Century Plaza. Then I had a band on the weekend, a trio. And I met a great singer, Judy Branch. She lives in Florida now. And she worked with me. And actually, that's another story. And then on Sundays, I did brunches there. So it was great. I had a long run there.
Well, I mean, and Lee probably was okay with booking you because of where you had just been too, right? I mean,
And yeah,
your experience
she made me,
was,
I, I went down there and played, and, she got me the job.
yeah. Wow, that's amazing. And I find it really amazing that we didn't really bump into each other back then too, because Octavio and Justo were dear friends of mine. Octavio, I worked with a lot. So I don't know, but that's just so interesting, because those were the days that everybody really kind of knew each other, right?
Yeah, and see, so much happened from the Century Plus. Okay, so there I'm sitting, and I'll take a step back. In Atlantic City, when I was the musical director for the David Alexander Winter Show, it was a big show with tremendous arrangements. And I said to the creator, I said, "Listen, this is all right, but I need you to hire me an arranger because I can't do them all myself. This is
Yeah,
too much."
yeah,
So he brought this guy, Bob Sigler from LA.
yeah.
Maybe you know
I know that
him.
name. I know the name.
Great, great arranger. And he said to me, "Hey, look, when you go to California," because now it wasn't, I had to say, "Hey, Bob, we communicated." He said, "You gotta have to meet this girl, and you have to meet this other agency." Well, the other agency, I already had Lee now, but I went because he kept torturing me, and I met the girl. That's how I met Judy, and that's how I got the singer. But she said to me, it was a real turning point. She said, "You have to meet my brother. He works for NBC on air daytime, on air promotions.
Oh,
Can you write music?" Right? I said, "Yeah." So I met him, and that's why I stayed always. I had a business with Warren and Oscar, and then uh, Oscar Castro Nevis, and later I had my business with Mark Vincent, great guitarist. So that's why I stayed doing my music and doing these promotions,
you had so many great opportunities
and
come
it
up.
all came from just when somebody suggested something to me, I listened.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's huge. Okay, and then we're going to hear some different things from Sunny today, but so her ability in different styles was very prominent. Um, and like my friend, not that it's always 100% accurate, but my friend Dan put up some of your credits like on records. I'll show you what that looks like. Uh, so this let's see. Stanley Clarke, Lloyd Gregory, you, Voices of One, you, Michael Pettison Jr., and Stanley Clarke. So these were some of the records. You know, you can go to all music and add stuff too, or your daughter
Oh
can.
yeah. Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah. But is all this accurate?
Yes, yes. No, no, there should be more. I
Yeah.
guess I have to update it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can add it. It's real easy. But yeah, so yeah, tell us a little bit about Stanley Clarke. Uh because I'm a big admirer, of course, who really isn't, especially musicians. But also I just always thought he seemed like a really good person too.
Oh yeah, he's a wonderful person. He really is a great human being and great parent. He's great to my kids, and he's he has 3 kids. He has his
Doesn't he
son.
have a daughter who sings?
He has a stepdaughter and a stepson, and they're all very close.
Yeah.
And his wife Sophie's amazing. That's why I wrote Sophie's Blues for her.
Oh, cool.
I sent you that on the link.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll listen to that. I think there was a few years back that I went to this strange club down near the tar pits down in that area, and he and his wife were there in the audience because their daughter was singing.
Right.
Actually, she had a group with Jessica Vautor, who's a really good singer. I don't remember her name. Do you remember her name?
Natasha.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Is she still singing? She was
Oh
so
yeah.
good.
She's so good. She's good. So good.
What's her last name?
Agrama. Agrama.
Okay. I have to write that down and look her up again because, I mean, that was a while back, and I was really impressed with her. So I want to go listen to her again. Yeah. So, and then Sophie's Blues. Let's see, where have I put my list? Let's see. I do have my list, but I just have to bring it up.
Yeah, I have a video of the intro, which, see, when I play this song live, it's more powerful than the recording.
Yeah.
This is a very sweet recording. It got a lot of airplay on those. Actually, the crossover R&B stations.
Now, is it called Sophie's Blues in the list you sent me?
It's in the MP3s.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, it's in the MP3s. Let me get that. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. So this is this a full version or?
Yeah, it's a full version, but it starts out slow and it gets into a vibey thing. But it's down tempo.
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna listen.
Okay.
want to sing, Sunnie. That's how I know I really like something. When I feel like, do you have lyrics to some of your songs?
Sure.
I want to hear them.
I mean, song with about singers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to hear some, I'd like to see some songs of yours with lyrics too. They're very singable. I love the groove. The groove is great.
And that's my son Charlie on the drums.
Oh, cool. Her son Charlie on the drums. Great. Wow. I love that.
Thank you. So Say a Prayer is a gospel song I wrote, as well as Spirits in the House, and they both have words. So Say a Prayer, Stanley Clarke, it's with the one song that's not jazz on that Bohemian Sun record.
And who's singing on it?
Rod Wilson and a host of other singers.
Yeah, because it's gospel. Well, as long as we're here, I'm going to play it.
Okay, go for it.
Normally we'll talk in between, but you know.
Okay.
Say a prayer, yeah. In the morning sun. Ooh, say a prayer, yeah. When the day is done. Somebody just say a prayer, yo. For those in need. 'Cause you know somebody needs it. Say a prayer. For the world to be at peace. Sing hallelujah. Rejoice in the light. Give thanks to your blessings. All your soul and all your might, no matter how and no matter when, there's always time to give thanks and say a prayer. Come on and just say a prayer. Say it in the morning. Say it. Say a prayer. Oh yeah. Before we go on our way, be ever grateful for the countless blessings received over and over. Praise His goodness, mercy, and believe. Say a prayer in the morning. Get down on your knees and pray. Yeah. When the day is over, just say a prayer. All you gotta do is say a prayer for all the world to be at peace.
great cut.
Thank
Love
you.
that. And there's a lot of reasons why that sounds great. I mean, the production on it is wonderful.
Thank you.
Playing, the groove is kind of perfect.
Well, when you put Stanley Clarke in the mix, it doesn't matter if it's playing on a paper bass. It's going to be great.
Yeah, well, the time the time is perfect. The singing is great. The lyrics are really uplifting and beautiful. And yeah, Stanley sounded great, and you sounded great. I mean, that was a really, really nice cut.
Yeah, I just sent you on an email since you like that. Another one, Brazilian Sea. That
Oh,
actually, that's an original with words. Actually, my friend Alexis England, great singer, she wrote most of those words.
on the Brazilian Sea.
Yeah, but it's Rod singing in there with Cynthia and Alexis. A lot of
Oh,
it's a little groove. I just sent it to you, and I sent you the words too. You can sing
yeah.
along.
I got it there. I'm just saving it in a spot is easy to get to. Great, cool. Thank you.
But the rest of that CD,
Yeah,
Bohemian Sun, is jazz. That's the only thing that jazz, and there's it's a mixture, but mostly jazz.
yeah. um, let's see. Sorry, just looking for. Ah, yeah. I don't know why I keep opening your bio and then it disappears. Come on now. Yes, I see. So your Bohemian Sun CD, released on Stanley Clarke's Roxboro Entertainment label and recorded with Stanley and Ronald Bruner and Munyungo, is a show of your solid jazz roots. It's been very well received with radio and oh, and you've performed a lot with Ray Sidney and his gospel band.
Yeah, until pandemic set in, we were regulars, House of Blues in Anaheim, because this one closed, and then we would go to also San Diego.
I see. Wow.
Ray's great.
Since the pandemic happened, uh, what's the music performance been like for you?
Well, fortunately, I teach.
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about that next, actually.
And so during the pandemic, I sat right where I'm sitting now and taught. And then finally, some people urged me to come out, and I did, after a vaccine. But of course, the music scene died down for most.
Yeah.
I did a lot of online things.
Yeah.
I survived.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was reading something the other day. I can't remember, but it was kind of it was in a big spot, and it was talking about how a lot of great musicians have gone into teaching over this period of time for the obvious survival reasons. Also, not to mention the like the fact that CDs aren't really giving us much money, much return. So, that also is helps. Now, this actually segues into a teaching question from my friend Taylor Hatch. Um, he said there have been significant changes in musical academia, especially if you're in a place like Berkeley. If there's anything you could change about jazz education curriculums, what would it be and why?
I don't know. I think that the curriculums that are offered out there are great.
You do.
I do. And there's great people to teach YouTube videos, and you could subscribe to them. I think I don't have anything negative to say. I wouldn't change anything. I think it's all great.
Do you teach at schools or do you teach privately mostly?
Privately, all privately. And I could tell you that my students that really stick to this day are on FaceTime with me. They have excelled the most. You can't imagine. Well, you probably can because, you do it yourself.
Yeah.
I feel that students, when we're one-on-one like this, they can't squirm or whatever. They have to give their attention. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, especially the class situation on Zoom is really bad because they could be working on their phone, you know, while you're
Right.
teaching the class. So as you say, the one-on-one is always, much, especially at a certain area level of development of them, where they're really soaking in, some really basic, important information, right?
Yeah. And I find it this way, I don't have to say to the student, slide over, let me show you, because
Right.
I'm right here and they're right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am enjoying teaching a lot these days. I have students that are just really interesting. And a few years ago, I changed my website to reflect more of my spiritual side, philosophical side, if you will, because I I really wanted people coming who had a deeper interest, like of their own like philosophical or spiritual growth, and it worked. It worked really well. People who contact me through my website are looking for something deeper, and that's what I'm good at teaching, and that's what I really like.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and it's no matter what level they are. Like I have a beginner. She's so interesting. This girl. She's Indian, but she's spent a lot of time all over the world. And she's kind of like a beginner, but there are blocks that she has, but she has this innate sense. Like I was showing her a chromatic scale the other day, and she starts singing the Indian scale of what is it, the semitone or right? She
So
starts
hard.
just singing it, and I'm like, oh well, okay, so let's acknowledge that you have that inside your head. Very interesting, but there's a lot of beginner things that she doesn't know because she's never you know had a singing thing with musicians and um, other reasons, but it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating what comes through the DNA of
Yeah,
these kids. It's
yeah,
it's in there. You
yeah.
wonder.
Definitely in there. Now, this is a good question from Taylor too, because of your classical history as well, and sometimes you practice classical. Um, it's a technical question, but he wants to know in your practice, how would you work on, or would you work on contrapuntal approaches to improve your voice leading?
Mm, contrapuntal. Well, I'll tell you, there's a great thing that I love. J.S. Bach. These are analyzed chorales. All his chorales analyzed, and perfect voice leading, perfect everything, and it gives modern day chords, and underneath it has figured bass,
Wow, cool.
and and I think voice leading contrapuntally, um, that just comes with practice, and a lot of times people should write things out too,
Yeah,
so they can actually see, you know, how things are going.
yeah,
But this is a great book.
yes. I think he knows that book. Yeah, that's great. And I
Ask.
Yeah, I think the writing out is important because it is it it uh it connects some synapses, right? You
Yes,
think and then you write and it there's a connection there that doesn't necessarily show up in other ways.
right. Because even transcribing things, it's a great tool.
Yeah.
Now, would you ask Taylor what he does?
Well, first of all, he goes to UNT, and it's actually that is actually a part of their etude practice,
Oh,
and he has that book as well.
oh, so he's a student.
Yes, he's a guitarist.
Wow,
Yeah,
wonderful. Where is that college?
that's North Texas. That's that famous North
Ah,
Texas one.
oh yeah, you'll see. I sent you a video. I think I sent you some videos from my Florida days. Maybe I did. But my saxophone player there, a girl, Tammy Danielson,
Oh,
she and her husband went to North Texas State. That's such a great school.
totally great, isn't it? It's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah. Let me see if I can. I'll go look for. um, so, are you talking about the YouTubes you sent me or
let's see.
something else?
Yeah, let me see. Oh, oh, you know what? I think it's in that other thing. With those little movies.
The movies, yep. And the Sunny, one says Sunny Spirits and one says Sunny 2.
Yeah, yeah, those two have Tammy, my friend from North Texas State, playing the saxophone.
Okay, we can watch one of these.
Do the Sunny too, because the other one's great too. The other one, they're short.
Okay, let me bring it up somehow. Here we go.
Oh, this is
Oh, that's cool. Very cool.
yeah, and it's the other one that you can hear Tammy more, and you'll hear
Okay.
Cynthia sing, and you're going to lose a good thing. It's my arrangement of that from another CD.
Okay, we'll listen to that as well. And you had mentioned, I wonder, I also want to see you with Dwight as well, because that's, a real different direction probably too, right?
Different, and Seabound is a completely different direction.
Really?
Complete, yeah.
Okay. Well, we can listen to a little of Seabound. Why not?
Thank you.
I comes up on my iTunes, and so someone I'm assuming you really like is John Beasley. He's in my iTunes also.
I see. Yes. Well, yeah. What do you mean it comes up on your iTunes?
Well, my iTunes, I play your MP3s, and it
Oh,
comes up in my
yeah.
iTunes. Yeah. So,
Yes.
but I've been listening to Munkestra plays John Beasley lately a lot because the arranging on it is mind blowing, and the playing, from all the guys in town is just amazing.
Yes.
So anyway, um, yeah, but that that was just an aside. So yeah, so the Bohemian Sun. So how long ago did you make that? A few years back, or
Yeah, that was in 10 years ago. Yeah.
okay?
And yeah, we had another whole CD slated to come out, very funky CD, but we had some contractual differences, and that's another story.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Stanley said, you know what? I think you should sit down and practice the piano because we can't afford to make another one of those records like, the way smooth jazz records, they cost a lot of money when you start bringing, he says, just practice the piano for a while and then we'll make a straight ahead record. And we did. That's how that came. I had to practice though.
The Bohemian you're
Yeah,
talking about.
Bohemian, because we had a whole other CD that was supposed to come out, and it never did and never will because there were some things attached to it that are, that are not that would have caused us a lot of harm. Yeah, and that's another story. But anyway, so that's Bohemian Sun, and now hopefully, if I sit down and practice again, I can make another one of those records because I have all the material written. Just you have to practice. Can't budget.
Right. Talking about the music business, have you experienced a lot of various things in the music business that you remember and you kind of watch for as you're moving on into the future?
I Well, I only watch for you make good agreements with people and make sure it's in writing and make sure that these people, yeah, make sure everything's in writing, even if it's your own family, because that's where my problem came in. Wasn't a stranger.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I have to, that's what I've learned. You have to get it in writing and notarized. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I find that over the years that I forget a lot of things. You know how, for instance, you sent me all your stuff, and I opened it, and I put it somewhere where I thought, oh yeah, it's very, I'm putting it somewhere on the computer, and then this morning I couldn't find it, and so I find my career is a lot like that when it comes to business. It's like things happen, and I think, well, I'll never forget this, and then I forget it because years go by and that particular problem may not come up again, or maybe it comes up 20 years later or something like that. It's really hard to keep track of everything. I I always tell myself I'd like to take a music business class, to just kind of either remember or learn about stuff that is interesting, especially licensing, because I think licensing right now is probably, you know, a, one of the ways to make money, right?
Definitely, definitely,
Do you,
definitely.
yeah, do you have any experience with licensing as well, licensing your music?
Well, like I said, for a long time, I wrote music for, you know,
Yeah.
I still get checks from that.
Oh,
And once in a while, yeah, I submit things.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
But
a
there's,
whole,
you can be very active and really make money if you become proactive about it.
yeah, proactive. Yeah, I always say it's like a whole career in itself, but that's the word. Proactive is actually the word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's a site you can put up your music. It's called musicsupervisor.com.
oh yeah. I see. Now that's one of those things that I dealt with before and then I totally forgot because I just didn't go
Yeah.
back there. Yeah.
So that's a service that I've never gotten anything from them, but I've certainly posted a lot of stuff up there.
Yeah.
I think you have to be proactive about that too. It's like any social media.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I tell my students, it's great to have a great website, but if nobody knows it's there, then you've spent all that money and you have a great website, and then what? So it not only do you have to have a presence, but you actually have to
Work it. Yeah.
marketing. It's marketing, right?
And my website, although I know it looks nice, I have to update it because I have it. And especially I got lazy with the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. I just remembered something myself. I dropped my home phone number, so I just remembered yesterday or something I came across my old home number on my website, so I have to change that. Oh God, there's so much to do.
I know. And you want to be creative too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I do have it set up on my website that I can change my events myself, which is helpful because then I can keep up on it as much as I want, and I don't have to always pay my web person to change it. And I'm sure she'd rather not do that part because that's always changing. But she's more interested in significant changes, so that's good. That's what I use her for.
Mhm. Well, I use Bandzoogle, and it's really easy to change anything you want. And I can't believe it because prior to that, I paid, big amounts of money to have something to look good, and I couldn't change it. So
Yeah.
this, if I wasn't so lazy, I would have posted today. I should have posted what we are doing today, and it actually shoots it out on all the other social media sites.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a Bandzoogle, and it's what, $15 a month.
Wow. I'll write it down I mean, I probably wouldn't change mine at this point, but I think that's really amazing. And especially that it sends it out too.
Anything you belong to, Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
any other sites, it lists them what you want them to copy it to.
Yeah, I think that's very valuable. I really do. Um, I mean, I have a few Wix sites which are free, um, and they're good for what I have because I'm not super active on those, but I like to have them remain up. I even have the downtown that jazz series that I had. I still keep the website up because I don't know. I think I don't want that. I don't want the knowledge of that to go away. So I just keep it up, and if somebody comes across it, great. And it's just it's I just like to have it.
It was a great venue you had, and people asked me, "Are you ever going to go back there? We had such a nice time."
I wish, the restaurant is still open, but they stopped using that room for a consistent series. They'll rent out the room, um, but so if I wanted to do something else, I'd have to produce something and put up the money, kind of for all the different moving parts, and I don't know that they'd serve food. Strangely enough, when I would create a lot of business there, their kitchen and staff didn't really run smoothly. So, like when Eliana played there, and especially when Dionne Warwick came that night. Oh my God, that night, the both sets were totally sold out separately, and at the end of the first set, the cash registers stopped working, and the manager was not in, which is weird to me. The manager of the restaurant should have been there that night, you know, and they knew how many people were coming. And so what I ended up doing, I kept waiting for the manager, and there was no help. So I ended up moving everybody out into the restaurant. I had everybody communicate with the waitress about their bill, like,
Oh my.
verbally. And then I and some of the staff cleared off the tables and then moved the other people in. Oh God, it's like, I mean, I
Oh
can
my.
I'm good at doing stuff like that, but it's not my favorite,
No.
Oh God, but it was a great night, and Dionne Warwick was so wonderful, and Eliana was wonderful. The band, everything. That the show was great.
Yes. I wish she'd come to town again.
Me too, Eliana. You're speaking of?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've reached out to her, but I hadn't heard back from her. So have you spoken with her at all?
No, it's been a while.
Yeah, I did. I'm in contact now with Eduardo Del Signore,
Right.
and he's so sweet and wonderful. So and we talked about him. He was in one of the bands. Uh,
Yes. Oh, that's how I met him, from her. Because
okay. Yeah.
we used to work together at Lava Lee.
Ah, right, right. Those were the days.
Those were the days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's not in contact with her.
Right.
Mainly I'm in contact. Yeah, they haven't spoken in a while.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah, but he hasn't heard from her. We
Yeah.
always talk about her.
Yeah. Right. I did that gig at La Puglia. I loved it.
I know.
That's a very
He-
nice room.
yes. He said he's having you back.
Yeah, thank you for connecting us. And yeah, it was very very nice. I really enjoyed it a lot. It was great. And I really like him. I actually interviewed him. I squeezed him into a date that somebody dropped out, and that was a great interview. He's such an interesting guy.
Yes, he is, and he's a giving person.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
very nice. Did you know that when he was 20 or 19 or 20, he won the lottery in Uruguay?
No.
It was about the equal to about $200,000.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, so he said he helped his family and then he could live for a few years, on that. And I think that was the period, I'm pretty sure that his band was invited by a French guy to live and travel on this sailboat. And they did it for several years, kind of. I mean, they got off the boat occasionally, but they did that for about 3 years. And the French guy just thought that the mathematics of sailing and music went together.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yes.
Okay, so Taylor always asks very interesting questions. And here's another one. Um, I think the teaching one, Taylor, is I'm going to skip over that because I don't know about I think that takes a lot of thought. But
Well, what is it?
well, he said going back to teaching, what is one thing a teacher taught you in your development that you don't use when you're working with students and why? I'd have to really think about that one.
I have to really think about that because I studied with great teachers, and I use everything they ever taught me.
There was one thing that my my main vocal teacher years ago taught me that I didn't agree with. But I can't remember exactly what it was. I'd have to really think about it. But yeah, other than that, I don't remember anything like that. I bet he has a teacher that he disagrees with a little bit.
Oh, listen, I hear from some of my students, and they have disagreements with maybe a high school teacher, and they're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do know that occurs.
Yeah. And of course, in singing, I don't know if this happens in piano, but I would assume it does. But so many people in the development years, put a squash on singing, from your parents, quiet, you don't sound good, that kind of thing, to, you're in a choir and the choir teacher says, don't sing, just mouth the words, stuff like that.
Yes,
Terrible things.
they can really affect you.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yes.
a lot of trauma. Yeah.
Yes.
I actually have been investigating this method called the Tomatis method. I don't know a lot about it, but basically, it's actually a method that's been around for a long time. It's not just about making music. It uses music, but it's not just about making music. It can be everything from people not being able to speak to make just singing, or I mean, it's all kinds of things get affected by this. Basically, um, it's saying that when you were traumatized when you were young, and like let's just say as a singer, for instance, you can't, which is why I got interested in it in the beginning. Like I have students who can sing down low and down high, and then in the middle they can't sing, they can't match a pitch.
Oh,
And so, I mean, I have my own ways of dealing with it, but the Tomatis method would say that notes in that area were related to trauma when you were younger.
yes. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
How do I spell Tomatis?
Tomatis.
Okay, I'm going to look for it. And
It's very interesting, and I spoke with a woman for about a half hour as an introduction, and yeah, it's a it's an interesting method, that is tried and proven, scientifically.
that's great. I'm going to recommend this. Why I teach a wonderful uh, doctor, PhD, psychiatrist, medical doctor, and she was traumatized as a child that she had no musical talent. She couldn't, and you can't sing. Well, you should hear her now. I helped her, and she's a psychiatrist. Get over this. She can play. She can read chords. She plays classical music,
Wow.
and she sings with her piano playing.
Wow.
And so this is great because I didn't know about this method, but
Yeah.
I worked on her, and now she says, and that horrible teacher.
Yeah, it's unbelievable what people.
No, this is
Yeah.
a very significant thing that goes on.
Yeah.
So in my teaching, I teach a little girl. Her mother's a neurologist, one of the foremost in the world for researching, the researcher on autism. The father's an astrophysicist. They live in England. They're Japanese.
Oh.
I taught little Mizuki from the time she was 5.5. Now she was just 7, all during pandemic. You should hear her play. And
Wow.
but she's a genius in school, and she goes to a private school for professors. The teacher was very anti anybody that couldn't speak the proper English. The kid speaks Japanese and English and does like 6th grade math or higher. She's brilliant. And the teacher told her mother she had developmental developmental issues. So my friend sat down with the teacher, and she didn't realize what her background is. And my friend said, "You realize that I have a PhD in psychiatry. I'm a neurologist, and my specialty is developmental problems." And you're telling me my child and the teacher didn't know what to say. Well, now she's taking her out of that school for this upcoming semester. It's a private school. It's connected with music. She passed with flying colors. I could play all kinds of notes on the piano. She sings them. This is that teacher could have destroyed the kid for life.
Wow.
And it was horrible. And she's not the only one. She singled out a Chinese kid and a Polish kid because it's an international school. They should get rid of that teacher.
Wow.
This is a great thing. I'm going to have the mother look at this too.
I bet she really digs it. I think it's really it's really interesting. And as I said, it's tried and proven scientifically. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool. Wow. Yeah, it's shocking, the egos people have. I mean, that teacher obviously has a very strange ego to actually be able to say, that and not see what's there. I mean, when you're a teacher, you should be open and, curious, right?
And nurturing.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Um, Taylor said, when you come across any type of bad habit that keeps haunting your practice or even points of daily life, how do you work on solving the problem without encountering it the second time? That's a deep question too, Taylor.
Very deep. Well, I'm always thinking I'm going to improve. I just try to do my best. It's like overeating or something. Okay, that is bad. Yeah. They say it takes 3 weeks to break a habit. So I try to, when I wake up in the morning, and this is something that'll keep me from falling behind and not practicing, at least I get some coffee and I sit by the piano, the other side of the room, the grand piano, and I play for a while, because then I'll remember who I am, and you have to practice.
Yeah.
Because from time to time I get out of the habit of like working out on the piano.
Yeah. Right. I know.
So you have to do it consistently for 3 weeks to break that bad habit, and then keep it up.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I mean, I think being, let's see, well, I mean, there's of course many different tools that we have, and each person, uses, some of us use the same tools, but some of us have something else that will work for us, right? But definitely the ability to be here in the moment and patiently and curiously look at something and move through it again and again. And also, I mean, in that case too, I mean, you also have to be aware enough to notice what it is, to notice the stuff that's not serving you, right? I mean, that in itself is like a lifetime study, How does one be aware, and, how does one be able to notice that stuff?
Taylor is deep.
Yeah, I know.
I have to check out his music.
He's really good, and he's been with me for a long time on this show, and actually all through the pandemic, he was always on the show and talking, and we just met in person about a week or two ago. He came over to the house. He was here. He was up where he lives, where his parents live, for the summer.
Oh, so he lives in California. His parents live here.
Yeah, and he's been here before, and but he's been going to school in Texas, so. But yeah, it was great. We actually, I mean, I felt like I knew him because we had been on Zoom before and all that. But he's very He's smart. He asks very good questions. Um, let's see. I'd like to play something with Dwight. So I'm gonna go look at my list here.
Well, you have two. You have one, Everything Must Change is a longer one.
Okay. But that are you doing that's kind of slow, right? Or are you doing it slow?
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna play that because we haven't really heard like a real slower one.
Everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Everyone will change. No one goes, nothing stays the same. The young become the old. It's used to unfold. That's the way of time. Nothing and no one goes unchanged. There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except the rain comes from the clouds and the sun comes from the clouds. Hummingbirds do fly. Winter turns to spring. And wounded heart will heal. Never, 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 never much too soon. Yes, everything will change. Young become the old, and mysteries do unfold. Oh, they do unfold. That's the way of time. Oh, the way of time. Nothing and nothing, nothing and nothing, and no one goes unchanged. There are not many things in life you can be sure of. Except the rain. Oh, the rain. Oh, the rain. Oh, lights up the sky. Ooh, long as there's a God above, God still brings his love. Know that everything, 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 everything will change.
Where was that done?
That was at the Trump Golf Course in Palos Verdes.
Oh, wow.
Well, it was for a concert. The Wheelchair Foundation raised money for wheelchairs. It was a great concert.
Wow. Yeah, no, Dwight Tribble, he's amazing. So yeah, that leads me to ask you, well, one thing I want to ask you is your perspective on accompanying or playing with singers. I mean, that's kind of, it's actually, to me, it's a little, I don't know if it's two different things. You know, usually I think of the term accompanying singers as like supporting a singer who's, you know, really doing this one particular thing, but playing with a singer, somehow I think of that as more of a band experience, you know. But I would like to see, ask you like your perspectives on playing with singers and or you know what's
Well, I play with a lot of them, as you see.
yeah.
And I even, I think, you know, you can't play all over the singer when they're singing.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like an orchestrator. And some people are really great at it, you know, but you have to stay out of the way and be interesting. And yes, you have to be conscious. There's a YouTube I sent you with Cynthia doing a regular a standard.
Okay.
I sent you one of those. I think it's All of Me.
Uh-huh.
And so that's an example of how I treat. Well, of course, with Dwight, it was.
Well, I was going to ask that. Like, playing with Dwight is a different experience than somebody else because Dwight is super unique and you know just kind of a high level of musician, you know. And so playing for Dwight, what are you thinking about while you're playing, or you're not thinking, but how are you responding to him that's different from maybe accompanying a singer who is singing standards?
Yeah, it's to me, it's all the same. It's just a different level of it. It's just listening, not getting his way, and be complimentary.
Yeah.
And make it interesting.
Yeah.
So it's all the same. Doesn't matter what level they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Have you played with Dwight a lot?
No. A couple times. That was it.
Yeah.
He's great, but you know, I kind of stay in my own lane, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing it again because it was a tremendous experience.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a very unique individual. I love him. I really would love to hear your Sounds of Love. So
That's solo.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to that.
And you see that I change hair colors very often.
It's a great song. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Isn't that one of the best songs ever written?
Oh, yes. The best.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, um, was that a Strayhorn song? I forget.
Duke, Billy Strayhorn, yeah.
Yeah.
Duke Ellington's Sound of Love. He
Yeah,
wrote
okay.
it for Duke Ellington.
I think that's the song that Duke said on every recording session or gig he would play it at the end.
Mm.
I think that's the song. Yeah, that was just what a composition. I just gorgeous, really beautiful. I think I
That Lush Life.
that and Lush Life. Yeah, of course, the most famous. Yeah, I think I recorded that song, but I can't remember on which CD. But such a beautiful, heavy song. Yeah, I really like songs like that have this melody. It's kind of unexpected, you know. um, yeah, I really like the unexpected.
Yes, yes.
Ohio Hiroki, my friend from Japan, is here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Um, have you traveled to Japan?
Yes.
It's really cool there, isn't it?
Amazing. Yeah. The last time, well, I went there for music was a couple years ago with the gospel band.
Oh,
We recorded a CD, and Ray has a choir there with 400 people. 400
Japanese people.
Japanese. They some came from Milan. Some of them were from the Philippines, and it was because he travels and he has choirs in all these remote places
Oh,
and all. But this was the Asian countries. They all came together and we practiced and we made a CD, and it was their band and our band, Firm Foundation, because Ray is their main teacher. Yeah,
wow.
I love Japan.
And you know, gospel is super popular in Japan.
Super,
Yeah,
super.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Boy, that sounds like an amazing experience.
It was amazing. Yeah, we did the big concert, and then we played in a club with just our band, not the 400 people, 400 singers. Yeah.
Did you perform live with the 400 singers or no?
Yes, live.
Oh, you
And
did.
the
So
last
obviously a big stage.
gigantic stage. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
I'll send you a CD from there. Yeah. It was
I
an experience.
I want to hear some of that actually. Yeah, that's amazing. I love Japan too. I've been there many times, 40 or 50 times, and it's kind of like a second home to me. I don't know. I just feel very comfortable there. I People always tell me there that I remind them of a Japanese grandmother. Like literally, like people who don't talk to each other, they say that to me. So
Ubacha.
yeah, apparently maybe I was a Japanese grandmother in a past life. I don't know, but it's really interesting. Yeah, I miss it so much. Right when the pandemic hit, I was going to go back there for 3 weeks. I canceled, and rightfully so, probably. And I haven't been there because I go every year, so I'm really missing it.
And you go to perform.
Perform and teach.
That's great.
Yeah, it's really good. The teaching brings in a good amount of the money, so but I can't imagine people wanting to go into a small because there are always small, tiny rooms to teach. And I don't necessarily want to be in a small, tiny room to teach either. So, and especially now they're having a big surge again, like everybody.
Yes.
Um, Taylor would like to know if there's any record that you've worked on that you're most proud of, or is there is there one that you wish you could have been better?
I you always I always wish I could have been better. I'm never happy. Never.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I'm pretty
How do you
proud.
how do you deal with that? Do you kind of just go, okay, I wish I could have been better, and then forget about it, or do
Uh,
you deal
well,
with
you
it a certain way?
forget forget it. I went to a lecture some years ago, and it was with a costume designer. She gave it was a woman's lecture. I think her name was Ruth Carter.
Uh-huh.
And she said that every time that she would look at the costumes she designed, and she worked for Spielberg for big movies, and she would get hung up about it. And then she realized, I have to go on. Don't, and then look back at it some other time, a long time from now, and you'll say it was okay,
Yeah,
stop nitpicking and because you could be wasting time creating something new.
yeah. I remember I was on the road in Japan actually with my friend, this pianist Philip Strange, who we traveled for 20 years together on and off in Japan and mostly Japan, some in Europe. And so we were on a tour and we had done two records together. So one, of course, they always play your record on the break. So we heard the same few songs over and over again every single night, right? And one night we would think, wow, that sounds so good. And then the next night, the same exact song, we'd think, oh God, that was terrible. And it was on and on like that. And that was a good lesson, because it has nothing, I mean, not nothing, but it almost has nothing to do with, you can't really qualify it absolutely. If you've done your best, um, then you've done your best and you got to let it go and move on, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I also try, like if I listen to something, I try and listen like I'm not me listening to me. I try and be like a third party point of view. And so I find that is makes it a little easier to not be judgmental for myself
Yes.
because I generally produce myself in the studio. So I got to have that point of view. Otherwise, I'd be in there forever.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I spoke to a woman this week, Sylvia Brooks, who's a really good singer and songwriter. And she said she loves being in the studio. She really doesn't perform a lot live, as opposed to me. I'm more of a live performer, although I've done a lot of CDs. But the recording studio experience. I have mixed emotions about, especially when it comes to me singing. It's I can produce, that's okay, but the singing part, it really takes me a lot to get to a headspace that is fine, like listening while I'm singing. And that whole listening thing is, I don't love that, that headspace. Do you have any experience like that in the studio?
Well, playing jazz, you just have to be very prepared. That that type of music. Now, if it's something of a less intense, it's with the right people, it could be a great experience.
Yeah.
And of course, nowadays, I could sit here in this little setup I have, and do all my pre-production here, all my solos, and without having to be stressed out in front of somebody,
Yeah.
or without being on a severe time crunch. So that's nice. I do love being in the creative atmosphere with people, but so much of it's done now in piecemeal.
I
Like I'm
know.
going to, I'm going to put out a song shortly, and it started with me in a click track, and I've already put the bass and drums, and now I'm going to, now I will go into the studio and get with the horns because I want to be there when it goes down certain parts and do this and that. But a lot of it I can, you know, like the bass, I wasn't even there. I sent it to my friend Seku, and he did it.
Yep, it's great. And even before the pandemic, that was happening a little bit, but of course when
Yeah,
the music
yeah,
started.
it was happening a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I am getting more and more into Logic, and but I'm really a baby when it comes to using it. So I haven't really moved into the recording my voice with it. So I'm going to be asking some friends to kind of walk me through, even though I can, it's like GarageBand is, and I've been in the studio so much that I understand how everything works, but like recording Logic with the tracks, I'm not 100% confident, of how that works.
Yeah, I have a friend and he's a great teacher. He teaches at MI, and for the Logic stuff. He's a pianist and a drummer.
Oh,
And he's really great with Logic, and I can send you his number.
oh,
And he's
cool.
great. Yeah, because I'd never trust myself to record a singer. I don't do that. I
Yeah,
call an engineer, and I use Logic all the time.
yeah,
But I don't go into the live instruments. Then
yeah,
I bring in somebody to do that.
yeah.
And usually it's in Pro Tools anyway. They, transfer my stuff into there. I'll send you his number.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and you know who else is great at Logic? Cece Worrell. Do you know her?
I know
Cece,
the
she's a
name.
saxophone player.
Yeah.
She has a handle on that Logic. She can make her charts in there look better than Sibelius.
Oh,
She's another one, but I'll send you the other guy's number. Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Taylor actually has a suggestion if you're a reader, and he said on the topic of habits and trying to reinforce good ones, he likes the book The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield.
Oh, I like it. I have it. I should read it again. I should tell
Oh,
The War of Art. I'm reminding myself.
yeah,
Thank you, Keller.
yeah, I'd like to read that too. Taylor, I don't know. I mean, I know you've told me about it because I was just looking at my long list that I have of things that I keep writing down and trying to pay attention to. And I noticed last night, the War of Art was there, and I wasn't sure where that was from. So glad you mentioned that. So, yeah, so what is, what's your point of view? Just curious, what's your point of view of what's happening in music today? Uh, like I've been having a lot of conversations about the blending of styles that's happening today, which I think is a direct reflection of life on the planet. You know, besides the ridiculously weird political thing, um, I think other people are reaching out and trying to connect. And I think that's what music is reflecting, actually.
Yes. Well, I've always liked that fusion of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always liked it, and um people I admire, like Herbie Hancock, he's always infused all those different elements into his music. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He really has been one of the forerunners of that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Through the years. Yeah.
And that's what I did with, I think I sent you, it says another MP3, Do It Till You're Satisfied. That has Stanley Clarke. It's rather long, but you don't have to play it all, but it has a scratcher and the horns and has it all. Michael Cimbella's on there.
Yeah. Um, Maybe I'll play that one. Yeah. Um, what do you see? Do you ever think about what's happening? What is going to be happening regarding uh, just regarding um, the what's coming in music? I mean, obviously we don't know because we're not, we can't see everything. But um, do you ever think about what is coming, what's in the future with with music?
I just think it's going to keep on the same. There's the same 12 notes. uh, let me
There's
get rid.
13 notes, by the way. The 13th note is space. She got off. She hung up by mistake. Okay, she'll be back. We have another 9 minutes or so. So, um, actually, maybe I'll play the MP3 do it while she's coming back home.
It keeps me off the stupid.
That's okay. I'm playing Do It.
Do it, baby.
Satisfied.
I love that. That's really good.
Yeah, so that actually, I have it in vinyl, green vinyl. That actually tracked very well in they have these record clubs for the DJs,
Yeah.
and it charted very well because they would use this to get the people off the dance floors because it wasn't that slow, but and it was entertaining and it was a good beat,
Yeah.
and that's how I infused myself into that world. And I love to be on stage with all that going on.
Yeah,
There's no
definitely. I
samples there except my own samples. They're all my own horn parts from before I remixed it. It
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
was fun.
Well, believe it or not, it's been 2 hours.
Oh my Lord, have mercy.
See, isn't that wild? It's always in the beginning, it's like 2 hours. And then at the end, it's like 2 hours.
Great.
Well, I want to thank you so much for giving me the time. It's been really fun to learn more about you and to hear your music and to introduce you to some new people who yeah are following this. So thank you. Do you want to
Okay.
tell us to look out for anything?
Well, I what's coming up? I'm going to be playing in September at Wine, Women, and Film Festival. It's a film festival, but for women, and then I'm going to be in Palm Springs with the Palm Springs Women's Jazz Festival
Oh yeah, yeah.
on November 13th. I'm going to play for the Divas of the Desert, and
I've done that gig. It's fun.
yeah, Carol Chaikin's going to be in the
Oh,
band. Um,
cool.
a great bass player named is Kaya
Hmm.
and Suzanne Marset. And so,
Cool.
yeah, that's coming up. And I'll be at La Puglia with Eduardo with a call to peace, that whole ensemble
Oh, good.
with him and Freddie and Ron. I think it's August. I think he said August, and I'll be at La Puglia. I'm going to bring a women's group, all women, probably that same Palm Springs group in September. Yeah,
You have to let me know.
I sure will. Yeah.
I'm going out of town a little bit, but I'll be here as well. So
Okay. Well, great. And I know you'll be back at La Puglia because he told me he was bringing you back.
yeah, in September also.
Oh, yeah. You're going to be there on to the 13th. So I'll be there the 27th.
I think it's the other way around now.
Kathy switched her date for September 27th. So, I'll be there the 13th and you're there the 27th.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then August 23rd, I'll be there with a Call to Peace ensemble.
August 23rd.
We're celebrating Eduardo's birthday.
Oh, cool. August 23rd. I'm going to write that down because I'm in town.
Yeah, maybe you can sit in and sing a song. We should talk.
Yeah,
Sure.
Puglia. Yeah, that would be fun. Sunny, Eduardo. Yeah. Is that his birthday that day?
I don't know, but I think, or the day after, something like that.
Yeah. Cool. That's great. Okay. That'll be fun.
Great.
um, so yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, so the rest of the week is going to be archives, Tony Jones, Jeff Franzel, David Amram, Todd Hunter. And then next week for the live people, we'll have Terry Seabrook, who's from the UK, and Peter Fraze, who's from the East Coast. So they'll be on together. Then a singer who, remember the group Pure, what was it, Pure Silk? Or was that it, Pure Silk? Pure, that doesn't sound right for some reason. Anyway, it's an older vocal group that used to be popular. Pure, I want to say Pure something. Anyway, Marilyn Gillespie, she was one of the originators of that group. And then Sidney Jacobs, who's a really great singer, and he's has a new record coming out, and he's really doing a lot of pushing PR of himself. He also, a few years ago, joined the Fifth Dimension. So yeah, he's a wonderful singer, a really wonderful guy. So those are live guests next week. People can always go to my website and see who's coming because I keep up on that. So that's it. And again, thanks so much for the beautiful few hours that we spent. And it's just so nice to communicate with you on a relaxed level, you know?
Thank you, Kathy. It was really fun, and I really so appreciate all you do.
Thank you. Thanks.
Great job.
Okay. Bye,
Okay.
y'all.